done this panel a few times, and one thing I've learned is that the people who are very, very anxious, when I say, please start talking to people, they run out the room. And if that is your comfort zone, I absolutely do what you need to do to take care of yourself, but I want there to be a way that if you want to have like easy mode, I really don't want to talk to people, but I might want to talk in a group, maybe the front row when I turn people loose. But as it is, you can sit where you are, because I'm actually really proud of you folks. Usually I have to ask people to sit in this first section, but I see folks in this first section, so we don't have to follow my seating chart. It was an idea that seems like it was a good idea, but I don't know that it'll be necessary. But if you do, when I turn people loose and say, now go talk to strangers, and you're like, I want to stay here, but I don't want to talk to strangers, come up to the front then. But for now, I think we'll be all right. Are we all here for overcoming shyness and making friends? Excellent. Welcome, welcome. I know you have a lot of things to do with your MAGFest time, so I appreciate that you're here, and I hope that we can make this helpful and useful for you. So before we dive into overcoming shyness and making friends, I figure you might want to know, who is this person and why does she think she's the person to explain this to me? So I'm LaurentheFlute. I play flute. I'm not actually a flute, or am I? You may have seen me leading a band. I am my band's resident extrovert. I talk to people, so I don't have to carry the drum kit, and they don't have to talk to people. So I love to talk to people. I love people. If you've ever been trapped on an elevator with me at MAGFest, you have probably had a conversation with me. But as much as I love people and as much as I love talking to the people that are around me, I'm actually not naturally the greatest conversationalist in the world. I have had plenty of shortcomings and challenges, but the thing about that's my med reminder, just ignore the cheeps. So talking to people, conversations, meeting strangers, all of these things, that is a learned skill. I'm sure there are people in the world who are born knowing exactly what to say to everyone all the time. That is not me. I have had very stressful things happen that knock me down a peg, and I have to relearn how to socialize. So the things that I'm going to tell you today are things that I have had to do that have worked for me, or that have worked for my friends that I've spoken to. So hopefully some of them will help you as well. Not everything is going to be like a one instant, the one thing that doctors don't want you to know or whatever. It's not necessarily going to work for everybody, but I'm going to give you everything that I can, and I'm going to give you some opportunities to try them, and I'm hoping that by the time we're done with this, whether you're starting this at level 1, where it is progress for you to make eye contact and say hello to a stranger, or if you're just kind of trying to finesse the way that you approach friendship, that there is something in this panel that will be beneficial to you. So I don't know, okay, I haven't beaten this game, so I'm not going to spoil it. Please don't spoil it for me. This is the video game about talking to people. The boss fights are paragraphs of conversation, which is great. But so I'm just going to tell you a little story kind of why, to kind of illustrate the difference that understanding skill and experience can make in having conversations with people. This game, it's about talking to people, and I stream video games, and so playing through this game was the first time that I'd ever had people observing the way that I talk to people, the way that I think about talking to people. And if you've played the game, you might recognize this moment. So there's a situation with a little girl and her mother. And the moment that I saw that situation, I recognized what was happening. I knew how to talk to the people. I knew which dialogue options to pick. And I'd like to say I basically S-ranked that situation. And everyone's like, gosh, Lauren, you're so good at this. You sure do understand people. And then I met this kid. And if you've played the game, this kid's a lot. And I don't know people like this kid. And so I might have gotten S-rank conversation, best possible outcome for this, and I failed every single conversation I had with this. And not because I rolled bad dice stuff, but because I, the player, don't know what to do. What do you do to talk to somebody like this? I don't know. And it really reinforced for me that what you know and what you have experience with is where a lot of the skill and ability comes from. If you recognize it, you know the people, you know what to say, you can do great. And if you have trouble with somebody, that doesn't mean that you can't talk to anybody. That just means that particular situation is harder for you. You, too, can gain the knowledge. You can build these skills. You can grind for experience. And no matter where you are, where you're starting from, you can get to the point where you feel more comfortable having conversations with strangers, making friends with people. Maybe you'll never be an absolute social butterfly, but you'll be whatever that looks like for you. So we're going to do this in several stages. I think of these, they're kind of like different levels, but they're also kind of more different skills. So overcoming shyness, for those of you who have the self-esteem challenges, which I think a lot of us do, I've had to fight those, and I'm sure that some of you do too. In order to get started with this whole socializing with people thing, we'll do that. Conversation practice, not conversation practice, but basically conversation. How do you talk to people? We'll go over potential ways to script a conversation, because it turns out that knowing what to say and preparing for a conversation can make you feel better and can make a conversation more successful. And then we're going to talk a bit about making friends, what to do when you have those conversations with people, and then we're going to have some hands-on practice, because I think it's really important. I can talk all I want to, but ultimately I want these to be things that you can put into practice in your life. And so here, in this safe space with other people who have also chosen to be here, you can practice things, you can try them out. So, do we have Earthbound fans here? Yes, this panel is in fact named for the Tenda. I like RPGs, so you're going to hear a lot of RPG comparisons in this panel. So as I've said, talking to people is a skill. And just as with any skill, you can grind for experience, you can gain experience, small bits of experience, gigantic bits of experience, it will all take you to the next level. So there are a lot of things that we are aware of as you have to improve at them. You have to practice to get better. Nobody is born able to drive a car. To my knowledge, that is not just like transmitted to an infant. You practice that. I promise you, I was not able to get a AAA on DDR when I first started, and I can't now, so I'll have to work at it again, but it can be done. Dark Souls. You're going to die a lot. Now, hopefully you will not die in this panel. Please do not die in my panel. But the thing that makes Dark Souls in particular so great is when you boot up Dark Souls for the first time, prepare to die. They tell you that right then and there. You know you're going to fail, and that's part of the process of learning. You are grinding experience to get better at that video game. And I would bet that at least some of you have played this game and maybe even beaten it, and no matter how hard it seems impossible at the beginning, you keep at it, you can do it. And the same thing can happen if you play, or if you practice and get better at socializing with people, at talking to strangers. So the thing that makes a difference is in Dark Souls, you know that you're going to fail, and that's okay. In this room, I give you permission to try the hard thing. I give you permission to talk to strangers if you are usually shy and self-conscious. This is the space to do it. This is the tutorial level. And one thing I've learned, I've run this panel for, 7 or 8 years. If you've been in this panel before, has anyone attended before? All right, some of these slides might look familiar, but I'm happy to see some new faces. One thing that I learned my first time I did this panel is that these are people who self-selected as being shy. And the moment I turned them to say hello to each other, I expected just a hello. And instead I had to shush them. Like, stop talking. Because once they knew that it was okay to try it, they could do it. And I bet that you are all capable, regardless of what your skill level is at socializing. You are more capable than you think you are. And in this room, it is okay. It is okay if you flub something, if you say something that you wish you hadn't said, if it's a little bit awkward, if you don't know what to say, that's fine. We're all here in the same boat. So I want you to try as best as you can to internalize that if you have that little voice in your head that is making you second guess things, this is not the space. You're okay here. We are all together. We're all on the same page. We're all doing this. So you have permission. On that note, if you're like, well, no, but I'm going to do terribly. I am going to mess up. No, shh. I know that sometimes you have a really nasty little brain gremlin, and it's shouting nasty things about you. In this room, we do not have negative self-talk. We do not insult ourselves. We do not say, I can't do that. We do not say, I am the worst ever. No. I know it's hard. But I will just appear a little tiny me on your shoulder. If you do it, I'll know. So none of that. Instead of saying things that are negative about yourself, Try, if you can't do positivity, that's fine. Try a more neutral statement. If you mess up at something, I'm struggling with it. If it didn't go well, it didn't go the way I planned. It's not, I'm not failure, I'm not stupid, I didn't do stupid. You can acknowledge that didn't go the way I wanted it to, and you can say, I want to do better next time, but there is nothing about you that is inherently deserving of being insulted. You deserve better than that, and I hope that you can be kinder to yourselves than that. Because no matter what you might think of yourself in your worst moments, there is something about each and every one of you that is spectacular, that is special, that is only you. There are people out there who will love you for who you are. There are people out there who are your people. Especially here at MAGFest, we're all nerds. We have some things in common. We probably all like video games at least a little bit. And a lot of us are socially anxious in some way. I'm a socially anxious person. I talk to everybody, but I definitely have second thoughts and second guess myself. And it's okay. If somebody talks to me and I can see they get a little bit of awkwardness, I know what that's like. And a lot of the people, even the people who are not in this room, will also understand that. So there are people out there for you. Accept that you're just a human being. You will make mistakes, and that's what everyone else does. And focus on the things that make you wonderful, the things that make you who you are good and positive. And I believe in this. I really, truly believe that each and every one of you is somebody good and special and worth knowing, and that you deserve friends and you deserve to be kind to yourself. So I know I maybe sound a little bit like a self-help book, but I do mean this, and I want, while we're in this space, for us to try our best to think about that. If you have the habit of putting yourself down, which I know is very common when you start getting a little bit nervous and you think maybe you've made a bit of a mistake and you spiral downward, try your best to stop. A great way to break that cycle, instead of putting yourself down, is complimenting somebody else. Find something positive that you can say instead. And in general, I think positivity is a really good thing. I know that especially in like the 2010s, it was really common in nerd culture to make jokes about how much we hate things. I think that it does us a lot of good to focus more on the things we love. So I would recommend, as you're talking to other people about things, that you focus on the things you have in common and the things that you together can just... See, this is a little bit of the awkwardness, it's allowed, but try your best to focus on things that you care about, things that you love, things that you can celebrate, and less on the things that we all hate. Because the world is a better place when we put more happiness into it. So that is my little pep talk, and I hope that some of it we can internalize. Even if you don't believe it, put it into practice. The things that you say about yourself, you will begin to believe about yourself. So I really do believe that. So conversations. Who here's played The Sims? So conversation in real life is not exactly the same as The Sims in that you don't really have a dialogue tree over your head and you pick that one and you pick that one. But it is astonishing how much you can prepare and plan for conversations. When I was a little kid, I did not want to use the telephone, which I imagine is pretty shared among a lot of folks here. I think millennials in general hate talking on the telephone. But my parents decided I needed to, and they made me order pizza. Or I didn't get pizza if I didn't use the phone. And so what I started doing was literally scripting on a sticky note next to the phone. What are they going to ask? What do I say? What do they ask? What do I say? And if we got off script, I was completely lost at first. But because I kind of knew what to do and I tried it, it got more comfortable, and then I could go off script. I could kind of improvise. And there's nothing wrong with knowing and practicing kind of how does this conversation go. If you're scared of a call you have to make in advance, think through how's it going to go, what are they going to ask, what do I need to know. You can talk to yourself in the mirror, that's fine, nobody knows. It really does help. If you're going to talk to somebody, for example, here, we're at MAGFest. You want to go out and you see someone, you think they're cool, you want to talk to them, you can actually take a moment, think to yourself, how am I going to start this conversation? What am I going to choose that is the intro for this conversation? Some suggestions, you can compliment them. Try to compliment people in general about things that they have some control over. For example, compliment their style. Rather than telling them they look beautiful, you can tell them that their costume is great, what a cool jacket, I love your boots, your hair's really cool. You can bring up, I noticed that you're wearing my favorite band's shirt, are you gonna go see them at MAGFest? Things like that that you have like a visual cue. One of the nice things about nerds, about gamers, we want to meet our people. And so we signal what kind of a nerd we are by wearing shirts, putting like keychains, people have Ita bags around here, and if you see something and you have that in common with someone, you have a really great in to start talking to them. If you're standing in line waiting for a band, you know that this person wants to see that band too. You can start a conversation about that. And you can take your time and think, which of these things do I want to start with to talk to this person? And when you're ready, take a deep breath and give it a try. My suggestion for conversations is to ask a lot of questions. You don't want them to feel like they're being interrogated, but generally speaking, you want to get to know this person better, and people really like talking about themselves. So if you give them the excuse to talk about themselves, they're going to enjoy the conversation a lot more. It's a fun little trick, and again, you want to get to know them. This is a great way for you to do that. When you are listening to the answers, I know sometimes you get really excited about what you want to say, but try your best to genuinely listen to what they're saying, which can also give you some hints on what to ask next, what to comment on next. And you are allowed to talk about yourself. This helps it not feel so much like an interrogation. If you ask a question, be prepared to give the answer to that for yourself. And if someone else asks you a question, you can volley it back at them. It's a good way to kind of follow this like back and forth Q&A. It's a good general template. Conversational pong is a way to think about it. It doesn't have to be in your court all the time, and it doesn't have to be in their court all the time. But it is a good way to keep both people engaged. If somebody is looking at you and you're beginning to spiral downwards, take a deep breath. It's okay. Remember, you have something in you that is worth talking to as well. So as much as you can, resist the urge to run away when that feeling happens. And if you can't stop the cycle in your head, try to get them talking for a little bit and try to lose yourself in listening to what they have to say and thinking about this person. And again, try to bring positivity to it. If you absolutely can't and you need to take a breath and you need to take a break and you have done all the conversationing that you can, that's also totally okay. And I want to kind of reinforce that if a conversation doesn't go exactly the way you want it to, you still get experience. This is not like a video game where you run away and you don't get experience. If you have to step away from a conversation, you still did the hard thing and you should still be proud of yourselves. So one thing that people ask me is how do we tell if somebody wants to talk to us? There is no sure thing guarantee everybody is this exact same way, but by and large, these kinds of things are, you can generally say that these are hints as to whether this person is enjoying the conversation or whether you should let them out of it. If the person is not in the middle of something else, they might be open to talking to you. If they are making eye contact, that can be a sign, but there are people who do not make eye contact, and that doesn't necessarily mean that they don't want to talk to you. So mostly, like, if somebody is looking at you and engaging with you, that is a positive, but the absence of that is not a negative. Does that make sense? Because not all of us like to make eye contact, and that's okay too. If someone is smiling, if they are turned towards you, if their body language is open, if they are talking back to you, that's a sign. And I know the brain gremlin is going to tell you, no, this person doesn't want to talk to me, but they are telling you that they do. So try to look for those objective measurements so you can be like, brain gremlin, stop, I think this might be okay. If the person is turning away, if they're looking at their phone, if they're trying to find a way out, if they're frowning, if their shoulders are in, that can be a sign that you might be wanting to step away. In which case, you can say, hey, if you've got to go, that's okay. Give them the chance to leave. And it may be that they're really a shy person, but they really want to talk to you. And they're like, no, this is fine. So you can give them the chance to make that decision one way or another, rather than you assuming that you know, because you cannot read their mind. You cannot read their mind whether they are enjoying talking to you or not. And if they don't want to talk to you, That doesn't mean you did something wrong. That doesn't mean there is anything wrong with you. They might have a migraine. They might have just gotten some bad news. That you might make them think of their ex, and that is nothing you have any control over. So as much as possible, try to keep things calm and objective where you can. And I know that I keep going back to this anxiety and these brain gremlins and this spiraling downwards, but for me, that has been the most difficult thing when I'm when I'm socializing with somebody and I start pulling inwards. I feel like a lot of times we are our own worst enemy, and like I said, we are more capable of doing this than we think we are. So the most that you can do, the more that you can do to defuse the part of you that is holding you back, the more you'll be able to fly beyond what you think you're capable of. So a little bit more just how to do conversations. This is my weakness in conversation. I'm really good at starting conversations. I love talking to people, but I get really awkward sometimes when I leave conversations. So I've actually had to work very hard on this one in particular. So if you're talking to me and I'm like, well, I'm bad at ending conversations, but I've got to go, that's fine. You can just do that. You can just say that. People might think it's funny, and then it's fine. Because it's an acknowledgement kind of like our shared humanity and our shared awkwardness. But it's fine. You don't have to do it perfectly. You don't have to be like a master dancer in conversation. Or it's just, it's been really lovely talking to you, but I have to go. It's always something you can go to. And you can open up, like, do you want to talk to me again? I'd love to see you again. Maybe I'll run into you again. Or if it seems like it's going all right, like, hey, can we make a plan to meet up at some other point at MAGFest? Understanding that if they say no, again, it may not be personal. They may have trust issues that have nothing to do with you. But you are allowed to ask people that. And no matter what happens, you are gaining experience. And it will add up. You may wind up frustrated sometimes, and that's okay. You will also have times where you're like, that went really well. How did that happen? And more of that will happen. The more confident you get, the more skills you get. So this is the first bit of interactivity that we have here. I want you to turn to a person who is not the person you came into the room with, and I want you to say hello. And go ahead and ask them these questions. And if you're not comfortable doing that, that's okay. Hi. Is this your first MAGFest? Oh, excellent. Are you excited? Good. What are you most excited about? Me too. I can't wait for that. All right. See, this is what I'm talking about. I bet at least some of you are like, I can't talk to a stranger. Why is she having me do this? But look at you. You managed to have enough of a conversation that I had to interrupt you. Good job. And don't worry, you can pick those conversations up. I know. You wanted to talk to the person. You will be able to, I promise. But you can do this. And here especially you can, and you will have opportunities to. So we're going to get back to that. Keep that energy. Hold on to that energy. We're going to go through the last little bit of this, and then we will do more of that whole talking to people and getting to know each other. So making friends. This, when I did this panel in the past, a lot of it was just overcoming shyness, and then I added making friends because people kept asking more and more and more. And so the good and bad news is that ever since 2020, a lot of people have really felt that they are struggling to make friends, to keep friends. What do we do? So the bad news is that sucks for all of us. But the good news is that we're all in the same boat, which means that if you are one of those people who's like, I wish that I had friends, how do I find friends again? There are other people who are in the exact same quest as you. And that means that there are a lot of people out there who are just waiting to be your next friend, which is the good news. Like, we're in this together. There are a lot of potential friends out there. I told you I like RPGs. So, poor Coops. So, if you are struggling with this, especially if you're struggling with this recently, I have to reiterate, this is not just you. This is something that I think people at large are going through. So you have a lot of people out there. There are a lot of ways to meet people. This is something I've been struggling with as well. And I have a lot of friends who've been kind of actively working on this. So I can tell you, based on what I have been doing over the past few years, trying to build, I moved to a different country. And then the pandemic hit. And trying to make friends in the aftermath of all of that has been a process. So there are some opportunities out there that I recommend. So we're nerds. I think it's probably safe to say a lot of us are terminally online to some capacity. There are people out there that you can make friends with, not just the people online that you wish you could talk to, but they're on the other side of the world. But there are a lot of local discords, shared interest discords. There's meetup communities. I don't know if you're familiar with Meetup, and there are other groups like that, but basically it's a hub for a lot of different interest groups. So if you're a writer, you can find writing groups, there are reading groups, there are dancing groups, anything that you can imagine, there's probably somebody out there putting it together. And the great thing about that is that you don't have to make friends with one person at a time. You get to know a whole group of people and can figure out who in this group do I have something in common with that I think I could maybe build a friendship with. There are also classes. Try something you've never tried before. Try something you've always wanted to. Last year, I tried to learn fencing. I was terrible at it, but I did meet people who liked to debate the fight scene in The Princess Bride versus the fight scenes in Star Wars. Those are my people, and ultimately that's what I was hoping for. Also, a lot of local game stores have D&D campaigns that you could sign up for if that's something you're interested in. Board gamers. I hate board games. I'm jealous of all of you who love board games because that is like the best social thing you can do. As a nerd, all of my friends love to play board games, and you go to board game night, you have board game night, and it's a really fantastic thing. So if that's you, like if you look in your city, pretty much wherever you live, somebody, somewhere is hosting board game events. And also you can get involved with your local community. If you, like me, are prone to doom scrolling given the state of universe, get out there and do something to help people, and it will make you feel better, and you will meet people. And doing something together with people is a really cool, low-stakes, low-effort way to kind of connect with others, where you're not having to do the focus and pressure of one-on-one conversation like that. If that verbal pong feels a bit much, when you have something to do together, it takes away a lot of that pressure. So these are just a few things that might be helpful to you. But bear in mind that you are only human, and you only have so much stamina. So if you join 10 meetup groups and 5 discords, and also you sign up for a dance class, and also you sign up for an art class, no. That's a lot. I would pick 1 or 2 things, try it for a few months. If that doesn't seem to be working, try something else a couple months later. Give yourself time to settle into it, and see if you can find something that feels right for you. Another thing that I want to mention, because sometimes people who are very sad and lonely think, I just need to find a partner and that's all I need. Honestly, I think friendship is the best cure for loneliness, and when you are looking for friends, that is not the place to be actively looking for dating. So make sure when you are meeting people that you are clear on what you are looking for, just because that can be, especially for those of us who are a little bit socially awkward, that can be a source of some discomfort. So do be careful. But okay, friends, you meet a few people. You think they're cool, they're in your area. What do I do now? I strongly encourage you to plan an activity with people. Because again, conversation one-on-one can feel like that's a lot of work to have to keep up. But if you're doing an activity, the activity kind of does half the work for you. All of these are fun things to do, because a lot of times people like the social lubricant of drinking if you don't drink. There are so many options available for you. Also, the advantage of doing these things in public spaces is that there are safety concerns, so keep that in mind, especially people who are in more marginalized communities may have concerns about safety, so the more you can think about them, the better a friend you're being. If you are the person who can talk. There was somebody here early on who was talking to strangers very easily. And if you're that person, I'm that person. Know who in your circle is the quiet person and help them. If they want it, pull them into the conversation. I love my bandmates very much, but one of them has been very shy, and he finally said, Lauren, I want to be in the conversations and I don't know how. Now that I know that, I make sure that he's included. If you are in a position to do that in your group of friends, you'll be helping somebody, you'll be practicing your skills, and you'll be making your entire group of friends tighter. So it's a helpful thing to do if you can. And again, this bottom point, like I said, there's a lot of us out there who are actively trying to find more friends. And the people that you are in the process of befriending are just as excited and anxious about making friends with you as you are with them. And so these people are positively inclined towards you. They want to be your friend. People want to enjoy the conversations they have with you. They want you to be the person that they want to hang out with. And so keep that in mind, no matter what you might be struggling with yourself. Remember, other people are going to think you're great. So before I turn you loose completely, if you have questions, I will try to help answer them after this, or you can contact me online. I'm LaurentheFlute pretty much everywhere, and I will try to help. There used to be at least a looking for group option on the MAGFest Discord, and if that's still there, that's a good option. Also, my friend Brenneman is leading speed friending tomorrow. He's in the back of the room there. If you think that you are a high enough level that you want to talk in a structured situation with a bunch of people and you're okay with noise, it will be in the arena at 1:30 p.m. tomorrow. Please come. It's a great opportunity to meet a whole lot of people really quickly and maybe make some great friends. If that's a little bit much for you, maybe hang around out the entrance and see if there's other folks from this panel you can talk to. Do like a low-key chatting without the whole crunch of the room. We are trying to help our nerd friends make more friends. So this is part of our friendship theme for MAGFest. And then I have reached the final part of the panel. I said hang on to that energy for talking to people. I want you guys to talk to each other. If you are not comfortable talking to the group, but you would still like to practice talking, come up to the front of the room. You can talk to me. I promise I am your tutorial giver. I even dressed up as Toriel a few years ago. So I am the least scary person ever, so you can come up and talk to me. But if you're comfortable talking to each other, absolutely, talk to each other. These are some suggested things to ask. I won't be grading your bingo card, but if you're like, I don't know how to begin a conversation, this is your starting point, and then see if you can build a conversation from there. And if you have anything you want to ask me, I will be around here. So yes, are we good? Anything else? Any concerns? All right, go forth, my friends.